Ashley was just minutes away from walking down the aisle when she heard the voice of her fiancé, Benjamin, behind the door, quietly laughing with his best friend Hilary. As soon as she signs, we're set. That naive girl has no idea what's coming. It felt like the air had been ripped from the room. The veil weighed like lead, and her heart simply dropped. All those fairy tale dreams she had clung to for years crumbled in an instant. The woman everyone called a princess now trembled, alone, like a porcelain doll about to fall off the shelf. And no one noticed. No one saw the sparkle fade from her eyes on the day that was supposed to be the happiest of her life. She smiled for the cameras, pretended she didn't know, but inside she vowed this wouldn't end here. Because no one can imagine what a wounded woman is capable of. Ashley could barely believe her ears. She hadn't meant to overhear, yet there it was. The voice of her fiancé, Benjamin, whispering behind the door, laughing softly with Hilary. After she signs, we're set for life. She has no clue, he said. Ashley's heart froze, pain shooting through her chest. The illusion of a fairy tale romance shattered in an instant, leaving her both terrified and electrified with fury. The words echoed like a cruel melody, reminding her that Benjamin had never loved her. He saw her as a means to an end, a golden opportunity, not a partner in love. Ashley's dreams of a happy future, the princess in a fairy tale image, crumbled around her. Her mind raced with disbelief and heartbreak. Yet beneath the shock, a spark of determination flickered. Ashley pressed herself against the wall, hiding her trembling hands. She had always been kind, generous, and trusting, and now it felt like a forbidden love had turned into a trap. Every laugh from Benjamin and Hilary was a dagger in her chest. The betrayal was deep, stirring a mixture of pain and empowerment that would soon redefine her path. For a moment, she considered confronting him, barging into the room and demanding the truth. But experience whispered caution. Benjamin's charm could manipulate the scene, turning her confrontation against her. Instead, Ashley made a silent promise in that quiet hallway. She would not remain the naive girl he thought she was. Every step of Benjamin's alpha male arrogance would be noted, each secret strategy cataloged in her mind. She would turn his manipulation into his downfall, weaving a web that only she could control. The innocent bride everyone saw outside would soon become a master strategist, one who could outplay any deceit. The wedding bells would still ring, the ceremony still unfold, but inside Ashley, a transformation had begun. She was no longer a vulnerable victim, a pawn in Benjamin's game. The real story was only beginning, and every move she made from this moment on would set the stage for a calculated revenge that he would never see coming. Ashley retreated to the bridal suite, her steps measured, her mind racing. Each detail she had overheard replayed in her mind, like a dark romance unfolding in slow motion. She realized Benjamin had never truly loved her. Every gesture, every whisper of affection had been a calculated move. The betrayal cut deep, leaving a mix of pain, rage, and resolve. Her fairy tale dream was crumbling, but a sharper clarity emerged from the ruins. The room felt colder than ever, but Ashley felt a fire ignite within her. This was no longer about heartbreak. It was about reclaiming control, about turning the tables on a man who saw her as weak. Benjamin and Hilary had underestimated her intelligence, her resourcefulness. Like a mastermind plotting in silence, Ashley began cataloging every deception, every hidden motive, knowing the game was now hers to play. Even her tears served a purpose. They sharpened her awareness, intensified her resolve. She pictured Benjamin as an overconfident player on a chessboard, unaware that the real strategist had already taken her place. Each thought of his arrogance became fuel for the plan she was about to enact. Forbidden love had transformed into calculated observation, turning vulnerability into power. Ashley's mind wandered to Hilary, the so-called friend, complicit in the deception. She imagined the shock when the truth surfaced, when the manipulations they both relied upon crumbled. Every whispered laugh, every secretive glance was now a piece of evidence she would wield. The betrayal was extensive, but Ashley knew that revenge and justice required patience and cunning, not rash action. She began to visualize her next moves, not in anger, but with precision. Each strategy was a step toward poetic justice, each calculated act a way to reclaim the narrative of her life. The innocence of the bride outside was merely a mask. Inside, a determined woman was emerging. Every moment was a building block for the downfall of Benjamin and Hilary. As the wedding drew closer, her resolve hardened. The world would see a perfect wedding, but behind the smiles and flowing gowns, a storm was quietly gathering. Benjamin's misjudgment of her as naive and pliable would be his ultimate undoing. And Ashley knew one undeniable truth. The game had only just begun. The next move would set everything in motion. Ashley descended the grand staircase, every step measured, every smile carefully crafted. To the world, she was the perfect bride, glowing and graceful, embodying the princess in a fairy tale everyone expected. But beneath the silk and pearls, a storm brewed. A forbidden love turned bitter, a heart wounded yet sharpened for strategy. Each guest's gaze was another test, each compliment a reminder of the deception she had uncovered. Benjamin waited at the altar, confident, believing he had won. His charm, his supposed mastery of control, blinded him to the truth. Ashley was no longer a vulnerable pawn. Every gesture he made was recorded, every smirk catalogued. The man who had planned to exploit her had no idea he was standing on the threshold of his own downfall. The vows began, and Ashley spoke with calculated warmth, enchanting everyone with her poise. Each word was a tool, each phrase a subtle weapon. Her heart burned, fueled by betrayal, but her voice carried only grace and elegance, a contrast to the chaos she felt inside. Alpha male romance had been Benjamin's game, but Ashley now held the invisible hand guiding every move. As the ceremony progressed, Ashley observed Hilary discreetly, noting the slightest reactions, the faintest smiles that revealed complicity. Every glance between the two conspirators was a piece of the puzzle she would one day reveal. The passion and danger of the situation thrilled and terrified her simultaneously, yet she maintained her serene exterior. The crowd applauded, oblivious to the web being spun beneath their noses. The bride they admired was silently plotting, every smile masking her awareness of Benjamin's manipulations. The innocence they attributed to her was a carefully curated illusion, and Ashley's transformation into strategist was nearly complete. By the time the ceremony ended, Ashley had memorized every detail, every movement, and every secret exchanged under hushed breaths. Benjamin's arrogance, his underestimation, had given her the leverage she needed. The perfect facade of the wedding was maintained, but inside, the game of vengeance had already begun. The pieces were set, and the storm was ready to strike. Back in her suite, Ashley finally let herself breathe, though her mind raced faster than ever. The betrayal lingered like a shadow, but with it came clarity. Every cruel word from Benjamin, every conspiratorial laugh with Hilary, became ammunition in her growing arsenal. She was no longer the naive bride. She was an alpha strategist, ready to turn pain into power. The room once filled with anticipation and joy now felt like a war room for plotting.
Ashley reflected on the past 2 years, replaying each romantic gesture that had charmed her family and friends. The flowers, the trips, the whispered promises, all had been meticulously calculated moves in Benjamin's game. What had seemed like romance forbidden and pure now revealed itself as manipulation and greed. Understanding this, Ashley realized that to win, she had to play smarter, not faster. Every detail mattered. She began drafting mental strategies, imagining scenarios, predicting reactions, and setting traps that Benjamin would never anticipate. Each small observation about his habits and weaknesses was a piece of a chessboard, positioning her for the ultimate victory. Her tears from earlier had dried, replaced by icy resolve and sharp focus. Ashley also considered Hilary, whose complicity added layers of challenge. But even Hilary's cleverness was limited compared to Ashley's careful planning. Every interaction, every hidden glance became a data point in her analysis. The betrayal of a forbidden love triangle had sparked a fire within her, one that would consume deceit and reveal truth. She rehearsed her composure, ensuring that during the ceremony she would remain flawless, masking the storm within. Her exterior would be that of a perfect bride, while inside, a strategist orchestrated the fall of those who had underestimated her. Patience and precision were her allies, and Ashley knew that timing would be everything in her calculated revenge. By the time the wedding festivities resumed, Ashley had solidified her plan. The world would see elegance, grace, and happiness. Only she knew the truth simmering beneath the surface and the dangerous passion for justice that now drove her every thought. Benjamin and Hilary would soon learn that the bride they thought they controlled was already several moves ahead.
Ashley stepped back into the ballroom with a calm, practiced grace, hiding the storm raging inside. Every guest smiled, every camera clicked, yet none suspected the dark romance unraveling silently beneath the surface. To them, she was the perfect bride, a princess in a fairy tale, glowing with love and happiness. But inside, her mind calculated, observed, and prepared for the next move. Benjamin's eyes lit up when he saw her. Confident, arrogant, he believed the applause validated his conquest, his alpha male charm still intact. He had no idea the bride before him was no longer naive, no longer vulnerable. Every gesture he made was cataloged, every smile analyzed, as Ashley prepared to turn the tables. Her bridesmaids adjusted her gown, unaware of the tension radiating from her. Ashley's movements were deliberate, her expressions rehearsed. Each interaction was a test, each word carefully chosen. Forbidden love had turned into a weapon, and the very man who thought he had captured her heart now stood on her silent battlefield. As the ceremony commenced, Ashley observed not only Benjamin, but also Hilary, noticing the smallest gestures of complicity. Every shared glance, every concealed smirk became evidence, a piece of the puzzle that would later unravel their deception. The triangolo amoroso of betrayal was quietly becoming her advantage. While the guests celebrated, Ashley's mind was far from the music and laughter. Each moment was a rehearsal for the ultimate revelation, a step in a game of patience and strategy. She knew that every second spent under this elegant mask strengthened her position, transforming her vulnerability into a silent arsenal of revenge. By the time the vows were exchanged, Ashley had memorized every detail, every nuance of the room and its players. Benjamin believed he was controlling the narrative, but the bride he underestimated was now several steps ahead. Every smile, every word, every gesture would soon play into a carefully orchestrated downfall. The trip to Paris was sold as the pinnacle of romance, candlelit dinners and luxurious hotels masking the storm brewing beneath. To Benjamin, it was the perfect continuation of his conquest,
a celebration of forbidden love he believed he had mastered. But Ashley had turned this city into her secret battleground, observing every word, every gesture, every glance exchanged between him and Hilary. While Benjamin marveled at the sights, Ashley meticulously recorded evidence. Messages, hidden transfers, suspicious calls. Nothing escaped her attention. Every detail was a building block in the dangerous passion she now wielded. Her heart may have ached, but her mind had never been sharper. A true strategist ready to play a deadly game. Ashley disguised her scrutiny behind laughter and smiles, appearing enchanted by the city. Cafes, the Eiffel Tower, and quiet streets were her covers. She moved with purpose, each step calculated to gather information, each interaction a step toward exposing the betrayal hidden beneath Benjamin's charm and Hilary's cunning. By night, she reviewed everything in her suite, creating a meticulous record of their deceit. Every exploit, every lie, every act of manipulation was documented. She transformed her heartbreak into control, ensuring that the honeymoon was not just a trip, but the foundation of a calculated revenge. The more Benjamin flaunted his alpha dominance, the more Ashley sharpened her strategy. Each smirk, each boast, each subtle attempt to secure more power became an opportunity. She planted subtle clues, guiding him into traps disguised as opportunities, every action moving him closer to his downfall. By the time the trip ended, Ashley had built a complete map of betrayal. Benjamin's arrogance and Hilary's complicity had become their undoing. The perfect illusion of romance had been shattered from within, and the web of revenge was now fully spun, ready to ensnare those who had underestimated the bride they thought they controlled.
Back home, Ashley's plan entered its final stages. She had gathered every scrap of evidence, every secret Benjamin and Hilary thought was safe. Her grief and betrayal had transformed into cold precision, a dark romance of strategy and patience. Each move she made was calculated, like placing pieces on a silent chessboard, ready for the moment the trap would snap shut. Ashley began coordinating with trusted allies, people who could help ensure justice. Her father, once protective, now became a silent force of support, providing resources and guidance. Together, they created a network that Benjamin could never infiltrate. Every contact, every tip, every hidden recording added layers to her plan, making it nearly unbreakable. Meanwhile, Benjamin remained blissfully unaware. He continued flaunting his charm and dominance, assuming the honeymoon had solidified his victory. Yet every move he made played directly into Ashley's carefully orchestrated trap. His arrogance became the chain that would bind him. Ashley also crafted subtle messages for Hilary, ensuring she would reveal her complicity without realizing it. Each interaction was a delicate dance, a romance forbidden with danger and power intertwined. The thrill of controlling the narrative became a silent rush, replacing the pain with purpose. As the wedding photos circulated and society admired the perfect couple, Ashley quietly documented inconsistencies and hidden transactions. Every toast, every smile, every handshake was a chance to gather more proof. The world saw only a flawless bride, but Ashley's mind was a war room, a labyrinth of strategy and vengeance. With all the pieces in place, Ashley could feel the moment approaching. Benjamin and Hilary's arrogance, their overconfidence, would be their undoing. Every secret, every betrayal, every plan they had believed hidden was now mapped, ready to be revealed at the perfect moment. The final act was near. Ashley moved with quiet precision, setting the stage for the final act. Every document, every hidden recording, every captured transaction was now in her hands. Her heartbreak had become her weapon, and the pain that once left her vulnerable now sharpened her mind. Forbidden love had turned into a meticulous plan, a symphony of justice waiting to play its crescendo. Benjamin still flaunted his control, unaware that Ashley had turned his own schemes against him.
Each boast, each subtle manipulation, each smile intended to impress became a step closer to their downfall. Ashley's dark romance with power and strategy unfolded silently, unseen by the unknowing audience around them. Hilary, too, remained unaware of the storm about to hit. Her complicity, her cleverness, and her attempts to maneuver in the shadows were all documented. Every message, every whispered secret, every betrayal was mapped into the web of revenge Ashley had spun. The triangle of deceit was ready to collapse. Ashley rehearsed her presentation carefully, planning how each piece of evidence would be revealed. Timing was everything. Every step was choreographed with the precision of a master strategist. Her outward calm masks the inner intensity, a vulnerability turned into unbreakable resolve that would leave no room for escape. As the day of revelation approached, Ashley's confidence grew. The anticipation was intoxicating. She knew the moment Benjamin and Hilary realized the extent of their miscalculations would be electric. Justice, patient and meticulous, was about to strike with the full force of a dangerous passion born from betrayal. With all preparations complete, Ashley waited for the perfect opportunity. Every move, every reaction, every word spoken by her adversaries was anticipated. The trap was set, the web woven, and soon, the bride that they had underestimated would become the architect of their ruin.
The courtroom was packed, every seat filled with anticipation. Reporters whispered, cameras clicked, and the world awaited the reveal of Benjamin and Hilary's deceit. Ashley entered with quiet grace, a composed presence masking the storm of dark romance and alpha male romance that had fueled her meticulous plan. Her heart, once broken, now carried the strength of someone who had turned pain into power. Benjamin's arrogance faltered as the first pieces of evidence were presented. Transactions, secret messages, and recordings that he believed hidden were revealed. Every attempt at manipulation, every act of betrayal unfolded before the eyes of an audience that could not ignore the truth. Ashley's revenge was not loud. It was absolute. Hilary's composure cracked slowly as the weight of proof mounted. Her cleverness, which she had relied upon to remain invisible, now became the chain that bound her. The triangle of forbidden love she had helped create was collapsing, and she could do nothing but watch as Ashley's strategy executed flawlessly. The judge and jury leaned in, captivated by the precision of Ashley's planning. Each document, each photograph, each recorded conversation was a testament to the bride who had been underestimated. Her pain had transformed into a narrative so undeniable that even the most skeptical observer could see the depth of betrayal and cunning. Ashley's voice, calm and measured, guided the court through every revelation. Every word, every pause, every glance was deliberate, a reminder that she was not just a victim, but the mastermind of poetic justice. The audience felt her journey, her heartbreak, and her ultimate triumph, connecting deeply with her resilience and intelligence. By the end, Benjamin and Hilary's fates were sealed, their reputations shattered, their wealth blocked, and their freedom stripped away. They became examples of how underestimating someone capable of transforming pain into strategy can destroy even the most confident deceivers. And for Ashley, this was only the beginning. The courtroom doors closed behind them, leaving Ashley with a quiet moment of reflection. Her journey from a betrayed bride to a strategist of forbidden love had transformed every ounce of pain into strength. She walked with her head high, aware that the emotional scars she carried were now badges of her intelligence, patience, and resilience. Benjamin and Hilary were behind bars, their schemes exposed for the world to see. Ashley realized that justice was more than punishment. It was the reclaiming of her life.
Dark romance had taught her that vulnerability can be turned into power, that heartbreak can be the spark for a calculated plan that changes everything. Friends and family approached admiration and relief written on their faces. They saw only a composed bride, yet they could sense the quiet force behind her eyes. Ashley had become a symbol not only of revenge, but of transformation, a testament to how someone underestimated could rise with passion dangerous enough to command respect and fear simultaneously. Even in quiet moments, Ashley reviewed the events, mentally replaying the steps that led to Benjamin and Hilary's downfall. Each decision, each calculated move, each observation had been crucial. She understood that every seemingly small choice could have shifted the balance, and her meticulous planning had ensured success. Despite the satisfaction, she remained humble, aware that life would always present new challenges. Her story was not only about exposing deceit, but about embracing her own strength. She realized that romance, perdido, and betrayal could serve as lessons in strategy, patience, and the art of turning the unexpected into triumph. As she walked away from the courthouse, she felt a sense of liberation unlike anything she had experienced before. Her pain had been transformed into victory, her heartbreak into wisdom, and her vulnerability into an unbreakable resolve. The world had witnessed her journey, but the most important audience was herself, and she had delivered flawlessly.
Ashley returned home with quiet confidence, feeling the weight of the past lift from her shoulders. Her life was no longer defined by Benjamin or Hilary, and every step she took demonstrated the power of strategy and resilience. Even the most impossible love had forged a new version of herself, one that would never be underestimated again. She began focusing on her own passions, reconnecting with what had once brought her joy. Painting, travel, and charitable work became outlets for purpose and fulfillment. Each action was intentional, a reminder that life could be rebuilt even after the deepest betrayal. Forbidden love no longer haunted her. It became a lesson in discernment and personal strength. Friends and family watched her transformation with awe. Ashley's story became a source of inspiration for those trapped in toxic relationships or difficult circumstances. She showed that even painful experiences could be transformed into a story of personal empowerment, proving that vulnerability can evolve into unshakable strength. Ashley reflected on the lessons her journey had taught her. Trust, patience, and strategic thinking were not just tools for revenge, they were tools for life. She began mentoring others, sharing strategies for navigating relationships and power dynamics, showing that every betrayal could be turned into wisdom and growth. Despite her victory, Ashley remained humble and thoughtful. She understood that challenges were ongoing, and her journey wasn't only about revenge, but about mastering herself. She had become a woman who could face dangerous passion, heartbreak, and deceit with clarity and poise, transforming every obstacle into an opportunity to grow stronger. Ashley stood at the edge of her new life, the weight of the past finally behind her. Every step she took was deliberate, every decision grounded in the lessons learned from betrayal and forbidden love. She had transformed heartbreak into insight, vulnerability into a weapon, and disappointment into strength. The ruins of Benjamin and Hilary's schemes lay behind her, a reminder of what happens when arrogance meets meticulous planning. Ashley no longer feared manipulation or deceit. She had become a strategist herself, capable of navigating the most dangerous of passions with grace and precision. Friends and allies gathered around, celebrating her resilience. Yet Ashley knew the true victory wasn't in their approval. It was in reclaiming herself.
She had turned the illusion of a fairy tale into a reality where she was the author, the director, and the hero of her own story. Ashley reflected on the journey from naive bride to empowered woman. Each tear, each moment of pain had been a stepping stone. She understood that true strength comes not from avoiding suffering, but from mastering it, turning it into fuel for growth and using it to shape one's destiny. As the city lights shimmered outside, Ashley felt a rare sense of peace. Her story had captivated others, yes, but more importantly, it had liberated her. She had faced betrayal, danger, and secret desires, and emerged wiser, stronger, and fully in control of her life. With her past finally behind her, Ashley looked to the future with anticipation. No longer a victim of impossible love or hidden agendas, she was free to embrace life with passion, intelligence, and courage. The lessons she carried would guide every choice, every romance, and every step forward.
Ashley took a deep breath, feeling the full weight of her journey. Every step she had taken, every plan she had executed, had transformed pain into power and betrayal into wisdom. She realized that life's challenges were not meant to break her, but to teach her resilience, strategy, and the true meaning of inner strength. Now, standing in control of her destiny, Ashley knew that anyone could turn their darkest moments into a source of growth. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming your life, mastering your emotions, and making intentional choices that lead to freedom and empowerment. She encouraged herself and anyone listening to reflect. Are you letting others define your worth? Are you ready to transform heartbreak into strength? Ashley's story was proof that even the most painful experiences could become the foundation for a stronger, wiser, and more courageous self. Every decision, every obstacle, and every betrayal carries a lesson. The key is to notice it, learn from it, and use it to take control of your future. Just like Ashley, you can turn vulnerability into your greatest strength and create a life you truly deserve. If her journey inspired you, take a moment to consider your own life. What steps can you take today to stop letting others control your story? How can you transform your challenges into a personal victory that others will admire? And if you want to keep learning strategies for navigating life, love, and power with wisdom and confidence, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. There's so much more to discover, and your journey to empowerment is just beginning.